Hey, it's your boy X-Ray coming at you with a video. Now, this is a review, and maybe to some people it might be a rant about X-Ray Bloodline. Tekken Bloodline. Pretty much, man. I saw the whole series, and there's some things that was interesting, but to be honest, I think everyone has the same mindset that anime was trash. And my reasoning is probably different than most people's reasoning. See, my reasoning has to do with probably the main character more so than anything. Because the thing is that if it was good, right, it would have been carried by the main character, the end, the beginning, and things like that. But when I watched the whole thing, I noticed that there is like story flaws that cannot be overstated. And it's just one of those things that if you wanted the series to be this way or that way, you should have just thought about it a little bit better. And I'm gonna go into that. Now, anybody who knew the lore of Tekken beforehand already knew that what's supposed to happen, and there's spoilers. These are spoilers. Spoiler. But if you already know the lore of Tekken, it shouldn't matter because it's still the same thing. The whole anime is the same thing. But anyone who knows the lore of Tekken knows that Paul was a more significant character in Tekken 3 than what the anime has him as. The anime pretty much throws him off, pretty much makes him useless. And really it's just like he didn't even have to be there for the role they gave him, along with other characters. And it felt rushed, most definitely. But Paul, and this is a big spoiler, was supposed to be Ogre first form. I think everyone remembers the Tekken that was the case. But what do? So the Tekken developers get together and they start sucking on Jin's dick and make him be Ogre both forms, pretty much with very little help. He has help, but it's very little. And he does this without even devil form, like full devil form, just like an ember or spark or whatever you call it. Like just a little bit of devil energy is enough to defeat this monster. And it's kind of stupid. It's like they make Jin so much stronger than every character in the show, including Heihachi. They didn't even make him lose to Heihachi. They made him like draw or kind of win against Heihachi, right? And without really any devil energy, barely little. And we're supposed to respect this character as our main character. He has huge sacrifices. Though everybody he fights, it's like peanuts to him. And that's what the problem with Jin, why Jin is actually the reason why Tekken actually has the shittiest story, in my opinion. You have a character who's essentially Sasuke, right? She's essentially like a Sasuke type character with a bad personality, and you have him leading your show. Now, I'm not saying dark, gritty characters can't do that, but it's when you're dark and gritty, you gotta be like Berserk. Man's right there. You gotta be like Guts. You gotta be like Demon Slayer. You gotta be versus impossible odds when you're making an anime or any story. It's not just an anime thing. It's everybody wants an underdog. Jin is not an underdog. He is One Punch Man. That's essentially what he is. He's uninteresting to watch. But the thing is, the other characters aren't interesting either. See, in One Punch Man, they have the shitty trope of making one character overpowered and all the other characters like whatever. Right? I mean, and strength-wise. But they're more interesting than One Punch Man. And that's why it brings the show interesting. In Tekken Bloodline, the other characters are zero interest. Even Heihachi barely has interest just because he's in more of the plot. What I'm saying to you is this. If they wanted to have a good review from anime fans to get them into Tekken, more anime fans, then they should have focused on their other characters. They should have made it longer, or they have the budget for that. They should have just stayed. They should have even made it to the tournament. That's the thing. It should have been a thing to where you didn't get to any part where it could have been an ending or a closure. It should have been just Jin in high school, or just Jin training with Heihachi and killing thugs. That would have been more interesting. Him as a character going through hell, trying to appease Heihachi, and him killing people and stuff like that nature. But that's not what happened. In the show, what we see is he kills one thug, trains, and then goes to a tournament to avenge his mother. That's it. They didn't make it like living on Haji was hell. He was training anyway. He just did more training. He loved training. Matter of fact, when he was with his mother, he's like, let's skip to the training. So he got the best of both worlds. He's good for no reason. He's a good character for no reason. And when people hear me say that, they don't understand what I mean. Let me explain. Okay, Jin enjoyed beating up the bullies. He enjoyed attacking them without really any real devil gene. You could say it was him or not. And then, all of a sudden, he's out here caring about somebody's broken leg. Like, what? So he's bad, but he's good. But he's bad, but he's good. But he just does what he wants. That's what it looks like. Because there's no real underlying good intention from what he does. It really isn't. It's just kind of like, I can do what I want kind of guy. And it's uninteresting. It's no real reason he's good. There's no real reason he isn't bad. It's just he does it cause. Just cause his mom taught him some things and she died. Like, that's cool and all. But that's not interesting. There is nothing interesting about that character. So making that character the strongest character in the show, beating up every villain, Paul doesn't even get a time to shine, Xiao Yu gets knocked out. I mean, it makes sense she'd lose to King. I thought she would lose to Nina. It makes no sense why she beat Nina. But yeah, and then the animations and all that. I'm not gonna even get into that. But just the character story was trash. Okay, they should have spent more time in the high school part, or the early years of Jin growing up, and left it at a cliffhanger, rather than rush it to the King of Iron Fist tournament and give you a crappy, fast-paced result that contradicts the actual storyline and makes it even worse. Because now Jin has one iron. Now it's not Paul one Iron Fist. It's Jin, and he beats Ogre and True Ogre. There is no significant characters in the show now. Hachi lost to Jin in a 1v1. Who is significant? And Hachi's supposed to be the one who beat Kazuya. Okay, we know that too. So who is significant in the show other than Jin? It's worse than Dragon Ball. See, because Dragon Ball took 20 years or 10 years of character development, but before they got to 30 years really, before they got to Super, okay? Working on Goku and a couple other characters, okay? The villains were always stronger than Goku, so it's like in Dragon Ball Z, for instance, was interesting, even though it was a very simplistic plot, even simpler than Tekken. It was interesting because he didn't win all the time. Tekken, Jin wins all the time. So there's no, oh yeah, is he going to lose? No. Is there going to be an upset? No. Is there any crazy characters going to come in with a new move? No. Is it any interesting in this? No. It's stupid. And it's the same reason. It's because they keep trying to make Jin a good character. And people in Tekken just do not understand that a character type like Jin is shit. Like, that's the truth. It's shit. That's why they try to make Lars. Because Jin it's just like, they threw him down. He's in the furnace right now. See, look, in Tekken 4, Harong said that he had beat Jin. But in this, we see the exact opposite. So they're not even following their own plot lines. They're just making Jin godlike, and that's stupid. He beats Leroy Smith in the first round. Stupid. He should lose. He should have lost in the tournament. And it came and fought Ogre, because the other fighter was still there after losing. He should have lost in the tournament to Paul. That would have humbled him. And then he would have, Paul would have fought Ogre, right? And you make Paul fight Ogre. You make him and Paul sees that he has the same thing as Kazuya. Then Paul should have beat him and fought Ogre and beat Ogre. And then and then Paul should have been almost dead or something, passed out. Then True Ogre comes out. And then Jin unleashes the devil, and then Jin goes and defeats him. But it takes all the fighters for a second. Then Jin unlocks the devil and realizes what his mom said, like, sometimes you have to know how to be offensive and defensive, right? And he just lets go of the anger, uses the Mishima style with his mother's teaching. That would have been, but that's not what happens. Instead, he just randomly kills the freaking ogre from getting upset, angry, and just uses Mishima style. Beats the shit out of ogre, essentially. From watching that, I thought they were going to like fuse the teachings or something. Paul was going to beat ogre, and then Jin would get a chance. No. That's not what happened. What happened is they just made Jin strong enough to beat Heihachi, ogre, and true ogre in the same day. You can't make this shit up. And it's just like, of course no one likes this character. He's overpowered. He's overpowered in the story. It's not interesting. It's like Tekken World Tour. You see 7 Leroys. It's the same thing plot-wise. It has no real reason why he should be able to beat everybody in the tournament, beat True Ogre, and King beats Paul, and all this. It's like, I can understand King and Paul getting up high. But like King and Paul should have won the tournament. Jin should have lost to Paul or King way early on. They should have spent more episodes in the tournament if they were going to speed it up like that. It should have been 2 episodes or 3 episodes on the backstory. If y'all just was going to speed up through to skip all the him talking with Harong and Zhao Yu and getting to know them and being friends. If you're going to skip all that, then you might as well just went straight to the tournament. There's no point in showing the whole backstory. It made everything else a flashback. You could have used your 6 episodes smartly. You didn't have to use none of that shit. You didn't have to use none of that long 2-3 episodes. You could have been using to make the tournament fights more dramatic, more extreme, more interesting, and then them flashback. You don't even get to understand who any of the characters in the 6 episodes. It was stupid. And then they have weird triangle shadows like this the whole time when they're walking around. And it never changes throughout the show. You're looking for it to like change to be like a shadow change or something. You don't get any of that. Instead, you get a bunch of characters who are just running around acting stupid. And it's annoying. And that's what I'm saying. And this made it not a good show. It's not a good anime. It's not a good thing. But I think this puts a nail in the coffin that Tekken is definitely an anime-styled fighter. People who, like, there is no regular person who has Hachi, Kazuya, and Jin's hair and walks around as an executive of a company. Okay? And even then, that would still be obscure. There's nobody walking around looking like Paul in them. There's nobody walking around with these weird-ass characters in real life. And so it's anime. It's not live action, really. And they have made 4 or 5 anime style, whether it's CGI, Netflix, but it's an anime style fighter. And it's a fighter in general, but it's still an anime style fighter because they made 3 or 4 animes with it. So Main Man, Sweet, and all those guys. If you don't like anime, I'm sorry. Your game you play hours on is an anime. And it's a shitty anime at that. The gameplay is okay. But this was not a good release. I would have made a Lars. Lars is a more interesting character than Jin. He has humanity, lost his memory. A bomb blew up in his face. He was working in the army. It's like a lot of things interesting in Lars. He's not a fool. He doesn't have both the devil gene and he only has the Mishima side. His mother is someone else. He's from Switzerland. There's way more going on in that story. He's not a devil and all these things that, if he beats the Jin and he beats Jin, he beat Kazuya. That's interesting because it's like, oh, this man doesn't have as many abilities as them, but he's just strong enough technically. He has a different style. It's interesting. That's why I've always liked Lars because he's what Jin should have been when Jin came out. They should have changed Lars' hairstyle, I believe, but it made it more difficult on launch. That would have been smarter. But he's what Jin should have been when Jin came out the first time. Not this shit. An OP ass character with every ability in the game. It's uninteresting. And he continues to be a menace because of this. And that's why this anime was trash. And that's why they try to get rid of him in Tekken 6. The reason why Tekken 6 didn't do good had nothing to do with story. It was an okay story. Nothing to do with story. It's actually more interesting in my opinion than a lot of the Tekken stories. Tekken story is trash. Oh, I throw you over a volcano, now you throw me. That's okay, first game. Second game is the same thing. Except Kazuya's evil now. Third game, you got Jin, and Jin just, my mother dies, so I'm killing Ogre. Heihachi might be in trouble. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's just kind of whack. It's a little bit more depth than the first plots, but it's still kind of whack when it comes to like, okay, Kazuya lost to Heihachi though. You know what I'm saying? There was a challenge. Those two could challenge each other. But Jin has no challenge. That's what makes it stupid. It's like, What reason you got for Azazel? You are already the strongest person on Earth. You didn't have to destroy the world for Azazel. Tekken 6 doesn't even make sense. Why Jin is doing what he's doing. Lars makes sense on why he would be stopping Jin. Doesn't make sense why Jin is even in the world. It's bringing out Azazel. There is no one who can challenge you. Whatever you say goes. There's no one who can fight you. Kazi will lose. Hayachi will lose. Anyone will lose. It's a stupid character. There's no reason he had to do all that. And it's just more with Jin that's just stupid. It's like he has no real evil or good or intentions or nothing. It's just stupid. He's a stupid character. And it's even confirmed in my head from watching this 6th episode. Nothing he does makes sense. He should be evil. Evil. That's what he should have been. Or he should have been more anti-hero than he is. More devious. More, I would just want to break his legs and then just not. Because he's just like, remember his mother right when he's killing him. Or something like that. And it's more like this close to killing him. And the guy's dying, coughing out blood. You know, like, Hachi barely was kind of like that, but that's when he was already devil. It was like, nigga, who gives a fuck? Like, that's really what Jin gives you. It doesn't matter. He's stupid. It's just stupid. It's a stupid character. And this anime was whack. The fighting was okay. It wasn't great. It was even better than Baki the Grappler, I would say. It's not better than any anime fighting. It's like one of those forgettable ones. That's how the fighting was. The characters, uninteresting. Jin was the only one that gave any type of backstory or depth. Hayachi, barely any depth. It doesn't really make any makes any sense why you would even want Ogre to come out if you have Jin. Why? It makes no sense to eliminate fighters that Hayachi could probably already beat by himself, or like, it makes no sense why you even want Ogre to be here. Why? What is Ogre importance? You have Devil Jin. Just train Devil Jin to work for you, treat him good and nice, and move on. And then, you know, take his Devil Jin and put it in yourself or something. Like, shit, what the hell? Kill him while he's young. Kill him while he's like 7. Go find him. When he's training him, you kill him. Boom. And then you just don't worry about Ogre. That's all you gotta do. Because if it takes the Devil Jin to release Ogre, then obviously you don't got it. So, and then they said First King was killed by Ogre when it was supposed to be killed by Murdoch, which I saw Murdoch in the tournament, but I never saw Murdoch fight. So it's like, it was rushed. It was rushed, I have to say the least. It was not interesting. It was boring, and it was in the reminder on why Jin is a shitty character and why they need to hire a team other than themselves to write this shit, because it sounds like they just some fanboys. Well, just give them this ability. They can beat everybody. Like, it's like somebody who makes a fan fiction, and then they got a video game and they're trying to make a story for it, and it's ass. And everyone keeps trying to tell them it's ass. Hire somebody with an actual degree, please, for the love of God, or something. Because whoever is writing this story right now, fire they ass. Fire the hell out they ass. All you gotta do is go to Shonen Jump. It might be a little kiddish, but that's better than what the shit y'all got going on right now. I don't give a crap what Mean Man or anybody has to say who's a big influencer. I love those guys, but you know, they don't even know I exist probably. But I love those guys. But at the same time, they don't know what they're talking about when it comes to story writing, because they've been playing Tekken for 35 years. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I would rather play any games if it's talking about story than Tekken. Tekken has the worst story, worse than Dead or Alive. Dead or Alive has a shit story, but Dead or Alive, at least they have cute girls and interesting things going on. Tekken, you don't even have that. It's just like the girls don't even get cute until Tekken 7. I mean, they don't even have butts. Like, look at the old games; they don't have no butts or no figure. The anime, they had more figure than they had in the last 7 games. So it's like the girls, you know, it's all right. It's whatever, man. It's like. It's worse than Dead or Alive. It's worse than every fighter. Because every fighter has a better story than Tekken. I mean, Tekken has no good story. I don't even know why we play this. We even looked at the story. The story is ass as hell. Like, it's burning the fire. I wish it was an anime, because then you have a million people watching the bitch. But since it's not even an anime, it ain't an anime, because it ain't even written that good. Shit, I don't even like anime. I like anime. I do. You can tell. But shit, I like live action too. But Tekken is not on live action with that weak ass story. That shit like an 8-year-old wrote that motherfucker. Like, But all right, this has been my review. I'm going to stop before I get 20 minutes. Tekken Bloodline is trash. They should have paid somebody to actually do the story. I like Tekken, but this was horrible. This was the worst thing ever. Follow me on Twitch. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. But you guys have a good day. I'll see you guys later. Peace.